Oops. We'll give it a minute or two. Sorry, my computer froze up again. And I'm not sure why it keeps doing that. Hello again. Sorry about that. My computer froze up on me again. Froze up again. And I'm not sure why it keeps doing that. Okay, it looks like people are finding their way back. So again, I do apologize about that. Not sure why the computer freezes up like that. So hello, hello. Whoops, my chair needs to, and every time I do this or I change something, okay. So looks like the internet is bad or it's slowing down. Okay. Looks like it's will you continue your lives when you move? Looks like it's coming back. Okay. So um this was the original block. And then here is the blue one. Then we'll just we got that one. We also got this one. We got, I like this one. I think this is my favorite. And last one, that's number 6. So all 6 of them. Whoops, well, start again. There's that one, there's that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Okay, so let me put it back up. Whoops. Let me reconnect that. Okay. So let me re-put it back up so that I can see which ones I want to put next to which one. So I'll start with that one there. And then we'll go with this yellow one in the center. Then we'll do maybe this there. I kind of want to put the blue one in the center as well. And the 2 florals on the side. Maybe we'll swap these 2. Or maybe actually we'll swap these 2. Well, it's not really going to matter too much. I just don't want this one, and this one all close to each other. So, yeah, good enough. Okay, so we'll do this one to this one. So And then I will just grab 2 of these, or maybe I'll do these bigger ones. I was actually able to cut out some 2.5-inch squares out of the scraps from this quilt. So I'll just make some 4 patches with this and save these for a rainy day. And that's my leader and ender project for now. And I can just finger press this open. Now, for whatever reason, I starched this fabric like paper thick, or paper stiff, I should say. And one thing about a stiff fabric like this, it makes it very easy to just press it. But it also makes it very easy to crease and distort. Well, it made it hard to sew the curve though. Because when you sew a curve, you do need to stretch in the fabric, and you're just basically kind of working, or the starch kind of works against you on that. So lesson learned on that is if you are going to be sewing a curved block, do not starch it so heavily because it's going to fight you all the way. But having a heavily starched fabric makes it very easy for pressing and creasing. So the heat has been interfering with the internet this week. That's Jackie. Yeah. Apparently it's been interfering with the internet here too. So hi, Wind Sprinter. I like how the background is not pure white. Yeah. You know, I got this background from Hobby Lobby, and it was only, I think, on sale for like $5 a yard. So I just picked up the whole bolt. And I do like the look of this background because of the fact that it's just not pure white. I'm not, I mean, I have been known to use white in backgrounds, but I'm trying to move away from that and explore different fabrics and fabric colors with it. So I will press this one with my finger. That'd be good for now. All right, we'll start the second row. These are huge blocks too. I think they measure, what, 15 inches? 15 or 18 inches. So you can make a big quilt out of this really fast. But each block has quite a bit of pieces though, so maybe not so fast. I should move this out of the way. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. My internet has been in and out all evening, so I didn't think of anything of it. We had some wild storms go through earlier. Wait, this is pressed wrong. This should go that way. That's why I was feeling it wrong. Do, do, do. Okay, then I can press this one the other way. So it's going to go this way. If not, or if I do it wrong, then I can always flip it back the other way. And I think I may have, yep. I'm just finger pressing it for now because these fabrics are so stiff. Finger pressing is good for now, but I will hit it with the iron later when I get all of the blocks sewn together. I'm not saying anything about the move because nothing is set in stone yet, so I'm not even sure what I'm going to be doing. Or I'm not really sure when I'll start. Well, I started packing up stuff, but there's a lot that's still up in the air, so which is why I'm not mentioning anything about the move. Or at least not going into details about it. Ooh, okay, we can pluck this one out. And pop. We'll spin the seam here. Do, 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 do. Okay. Hello, Sage Gardens. Welcome to the channel. She says her husband and her have only been quilting about a year. Well, welcome aboard. Hope you enjoy or have fun with your quilting journey. We got a lot of experienced quilters here, so if you got questions, they can answer it. Okay. Will you continue your lives once you are moved? That's kind of up in the air right now. The plan is to continue it, but I'm just not sure because of the logistics of it. So we'll have to see about that, Kim. And I may not even do a weeknight live. Well, if I do, it'll be like super late for a lot of people. So we'll have to think about that. Okay. Did I press it the right way? No, I didn't. It's supposed to go the other way. Okay. Okay, I think no. I can feel the bump there. Yep, got it. Okay. So we got this row, and then we got another row. Simple as that. So we will take this row, sew it onto here. And because this is a little bit longer, when it's a long seam like this, I do like to pin it at certain intersections, basically just at the where the blocks meet. So I'll just pin it there. And it's a little bit bulkier here. So I'll put a pin right here as well. Okay. That works great for us night owls. Well, I'm talking, Suzanne, I'm actually talking like past midnight, or for some of you might be like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So I don't know if that actually works out great. Um, yeah, I know for many of you, that'll be like past your bedtime. This is a very long seam. Oh, that flipped back. Okay. And I will have to take the time before I quilt this to square this up, because this is wonky seam here. Okay. Yeah, it looks like I cut off the point, but let's see it. Ta-da! Okay, so let me press that seam, and then I can put it up. And then we can talk about this quilt as well as some upcoming things going on. Okay, and I am pressing this seam open here. Usually when I join rows together, I tend to press the seam open. Not that you really have to. You could press it over to one side, but on this one, each of these seams have quite a bit of bulk. So I do want to spread that bulk out a little bit by just pressing it open. I do find that pressing the seam open makes the quilt lie much more flat, and seems to help organize the seams a lot better, where I'm not having seams flipped over, and it just seems a little more neat when I do that. But that's just a personal preference. I'm not the quilting police, so don't take it like you have to do it this way, because everybody pretty much knows that, hey, whatever works for you, that's what I say it should be. Okay. Let's have a look. There it is. Let me move this way. Not sure if that's really noticeable. Well, I guess in the picture it kind of is. But you know what? I'm kind of fine with it for now. I might be irritated later, so I'm just going to let it stay on there and yeah, just let it simmer. So, yeah. Okay, that works out for us. Hi, Mozilla. Okay. Hello, Mimi. Still working on tulips. Yep. This is the end of it. So this will be the last video that you see me working on this, unless I'm quilting this quilt, actually. Thank you, Kat. She's saying so pretty. That is beautiful. Thank you, Mozilla. That green is perfect with the tulips. It's nice and bright. I will say that. Yeah. So that came out of my scrap bin. And if you saw the video that I did do about scrap management, well, this is the end result of that. So, pretty too. I like the non-white background. Okay, thank you, Gloria. Let it marinate. Okay, thanks, Kim. It's a design choice. Yep. Nature is not perfect too. Well, thank you. So I know someone is going to ask me this question. Are you going to put a border around it? And my answer for now is no. I think I'm just going to keep it like this. And the only border that you will see is actually going to just be the binding. I'm probably going to choose a really bright color binding to go around it. and that'll be the border. I want to keep this a little bit smaller, to the smaller size, and just keep it as a wall hanging, not so much make a full bed quilt out of it. To me, it just seems more of a decorative thing rather than something to be functional. Um, so I'm probably not going to put a border on it, but what would you guys do? Um, would you put a border around it, or would you just leave it as it is? Okay. Okay. Got done with that rather quickly. So I can spend the rest of this live just chatting and getting rid of this. So, as you know, when you make quilts, you make scraps at the same time. So, now some housekeeping notes. Starting next week on the lives, we are going to start doing this quilt. And I know some of you are kind of excited. You've expressed some interest in doing this along with me. So, yeah, again, this is the Diamond Pendant Quilt. It's a free pattern from Hoffman Fabrics, but you can download it from Bear Creek Quilting Company. And the link, I believe, is in the video description. If not, I will make sure that you can go to the website to download this pattern. It's a free pattern. It is paper piecing, so you do have the paper piece templates that you can print out, and you might want to print out, well, you're going to need to print out multiple copies of it. And the pattern also gives you a color palette and the fabrics that they use to make this quilt. I'm not sure if these fabrics are still in print. They may not be though, but as you experienced quilters would know, you can choose whatever pattern or whatever fabrics that you want to use up. So I'm gonna go with a different color palette. If you guys know me, it does say that it does have what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different fabrics. And this is the border print, and then you also got the background. So 14 different prints. But again, you can just choose whatever fabrics you want to choose. And we are going to start this starting next live. So you're going to see me struggle with some paper piecing. And if you've never done paper piecing before, well, now might be a chance to try it out if you are or an experiment with it, because, well, we can do it together. So yeah, it doesn't seem to be that hard. It seems to be an easier paper piecing pattern, but then again, yeah, like look at these strips. That's pretty skinny. And you can, with paper piecing the paper piecing technique, you can actually get that skinny. I mean, that's got to be that. Yeah, that's half an inch. No, that's got to be. Oh, now this is gonna bug me. Oh no, that's a 1/4 inch wide. So yeah, when you got thin pieces like that, or if you got pieces that are at weird angles or weird shapes, like on this one here, I mean, this is not a 45-degree angle. Neither is these two here. So that's where the learning about paper piecing techniques can actually give you an advantage to opening up some doors into the different types of blocks that you can make. So, yeah. I would just bind it with no border. Linda Fugate says no border. I like your idea of a bright binding to finish it off with. Okay. I'd leave it as it is, use it as a table topper. Okay, it's a bit big for a table topper, but you could do that. Um, well, hello, Brent Kabelsick. Okay, sorry. I know I just Branka. Okay, well, that's what we'll call you for short. Yeah, my patterns are printed and waiting, still going through my scraps for fabrics. Okay, Kat. Um, I'm making a wall hanging size. Candidate day was yesterday, and I packed up some boxes and read. Okay. Okay. So again, starting next live, I'll be working on this, and if you guys want to join in on this, then just download the pattern. Link will be in the description box, and we'll get started next week. Okay. Also next week is our Zoom. It was supposed to be this weekend, but being that this weekend is the 4th of July, we're going to postpone it to next weekend. So if you want to just come and hang out, you can. Or if you have questions about this paper piece pattern and you need help learning the technique, I'll tell you this. The ladies that join me on Zoom, some of them are paper piecing, shall we call them experts? Yeah, let's call them experts. In fact, one of them is here tonight. So they do a lot of paper piecing patterns, and they know about this particular technique than I do. So they're probably going to be able to help you, and you can ask questions to them. Paper piecing is not my cup of tea, but I'm going to give this pattern a go. And hopefully when you see me struggle through this pattern, it'll make you feel better about yourself because you're not the only one making those mistakes. Okay. So again, Zoom next week, Saturday. If you want in on the Zoom, just email me at treasureheartcreations@gmail.com. I will get you that information so you can join us on the Zoom. And if you want to just come and hang out with us, well, we'll be happy to have you. In fact, there's been a lot of people that have been kind of coming on just to experience it, and we've been having fun on there. So again, these were just scraps that I got out of, or these are just scrap squares that I cut during this project. So let's get going with these, because I am pretty much out of 2.5-inch squares. So let me just do these, and we'll sew these together. I like this fabric. We'll pair it with this. I'm just sewing these random squares together. I'm gonna just make some small 4 patches here. These squares are 1.5 inches. This is my 1.5-inch square tray where I just keep a stack of these small little squares, and whenever I have a rainy day or just need some mindless sewing. This is part or one of the things that I will do. So I'll just grab this tray and I will sew small or make little small 4 patches here. And right now I just have a collection of these, and someday I'll make a big quilt out of it. Maybe a 4-patch quilt. Or I'll just use it and create a different block. Or just use these as subunits for a larger block here. So, hi Michelle. Where or what kind of ruler is used? I don't think I have one. It's not any ruler, it's a paper piece pattern, Donna. Yeah, it's foundation paper piecing. So there's no specialty ruler for, if you're talking about this quilt, there is no specialty ruler for it. Okay, the blue. And do I want to go? No, let's go with the gray. And gray and the blue. No rhyme or reason for this. I just want to mix up some of the colors here. And we will pluck. Okay, all my kids are out of town, so it's just us and the animals. Might make shrimp Creole. Okay. Okay, Suzanne Taylor is asking, how is mom doing? Last I talked to her, she was getting off a cold. Other than that, every time I call her, she doesn't answer or she's too busy to talk to me. So I guess that's a good thing. But yeah, she's doing, otherwise she's doing fine. She's enjoying life. We kind of moved her close to a different complex, and that complex is actually closer to one of her favorite stores. So she pretty much, I think she goes to that store now every single day. Not that she really needs to, but she just wants to. And, you know, she's keeping active with things. So I guess it was kind of a good thing. Okay. Hello, Linda. That's Linda's Trendy Threads. I always think of, whenever I see that name, I always think of Linda. The long arm quilter that works with Gamel. Okay, let's spin this seam. Just gotta pluck out that thread. And we can open this up and go, hopefully it'll pop open. Maybe not. So I gotta pluck this one. And we'll pluck these out. There we go. And I can iron that. Put the clapper on that. And we will sew some more. So we'll get this one and this green out of the way. Give me another green and another white. And we'll take these two blue. And I will finger press that to the side. And hi, Pat. That's Pat Wainwright. Am I right? There is a 1/4-inch ruler for paper piecing. Yes. What do they call it? The add a quarter? It's not something that you necessarily need. It helps, but I don't have one. And from what I know, watching other paper piece quilters, it's not absolutely necessary that you do have one. Again, it does help, but there's things that you can do if you don't have one. And it's not going to ruin your quilt if you don't have that particular ruler. Basically, all it does is it just gives you, it just helps you find the 1/4-inch or create your seam allowance a lot quicker, but you can use a regular ruler for that. Although people do say, or for people that do a lot of paper piecing or foundation paper piecing, they say that that ruler does help, but they all agree it's not really necessary. No special ruler needed, Donna, but there is a 1/4-inch ruler. They're pretty pricey though. Yeah, actually, good point to that, Kim, because when I looked at one of those rulers, I don't, well, I won't say who it was from, but that particular vendor was selling it for like $35, and it was only a 12-inch ruler. It wasn't even a big ruler. So those rulers can be pricey. I will say that. I will agree to that. But then again, you put the word quilting or crafting on anything, it automatically increases the price about 20 to 50%. So oops. This one's totally off, but that's okay. I'm going to use it for something. Or I can use it for something. What that something is, I just don't know right now. But yeah, that's, you can kind of see the green peeking out right there. That's okay though. These are just scraps. And I didn't sew it very well. Probably didn't cut it very well either. Okay, let's just chain piece these together. So I'm going to use these, and I can, before I do that, let's get rid of, or let's do one more green to attach to this one. So I will put this on, and I will sew these two together. And I can deal with that later. And this fabric was, yep, I believe these two were together. So I'm going to just use up all of these gray squares and sew that. And I am talking out loud to myself. Do you guys do that sometimes too, or am I the only one? I'm not even on live sometimes, and I'm sitting here sewing and talking to myself, thinking out loud. Which some people might think that's weird, but you know what? I'm weird. I'll admit that. So those two can go, and I will sew this. And here I go again, talking to myself. Or thinking out loud to myself. And I said I was going to just chain piece these in, but I seem to be cutting it as well. Okay. Okay. I guess I'm not the only crazy person. I'm sewing together 1¼ inch half square triangles. Wow. Wow, Carrie, that is 1¼ half square triangles. That is small. That's a ripoff considering every ruler you have has a 1/4 inch mark. Yep. That's a good point there, Suzanne. We just bought one after we went to our quilt show and got one because we bought a couple of foundation paper piecing patterns from Julius Handmade. He also has a YouTube channel. Okay, you can make the ledge out of painter's tape if you need it. Well, that's one hack for it. Okay, totally out of my price range. I did get a brand new in the box bathroom bar for rulers at a thrift store for $2. Lady beside me laughed because I scooped it up and said, I live alone and talk to myself a lot. Okay. Where have you been? No, I've been looking for you now. Now you are going home with me. Okay. Okay. So yeah. Yeah, those rulers can get very, very pricey. And import taxes aside, sometimes it just doesn't make sense why the thing is so pricey. Okay, then I can line all of these up and be ready to sew them. Take these two, and this time I got more of this gray. I'll just take all of the gray out because I want to use up this fabric. I'm kind of getting tired of this light gray fabric here. Thought I was done with it, but no. ended up getting more. Whoops, almost put that wrong sides together. And I will sew these. You know, there's really no point in me trying to chain piece anything because I always cut it off anyway. So whenever I sew pieces like this, I have a tendency of actually cutting it off instead of leaving it on as one long string of pieces that are sewn together. I don't know why that is. I will cut that one off so I can put it with that. And ooh, is this the last one? Huh. Okay, I'll put, this is my mix match. So I will put that one with that one. And these two will go together. And then I will put this with and this will be my mix match or my mishmash. Okay, then let's start sewing the actual 4 patch, or make these 2 patches into 4 patches. Okay, I bought a 6-inch out of quarter ruler in 2012 and paid $9 for it then. Hello, Miss Katie Crafts. So for those of you who came in later, well, first of all, the hot topic of discussion was, what are you doing for the 4th of July weekend? Are you doing anything special? I am actually packing my stuff up and getting projects done. So I would love to actually go traveling out somewhere, maybe go hiking out on a trail, but no, I got some responsibilities that I need to take care of here, so. But I would have loved to gone out and venture out. But I know I should not do that this weekend. Actually, this weekend is not a good weekend to do something like that because, you know, everybody else is going to be doing the same thing. So, or there's going to be a number of people thinking the same thing and doing the same activity. So it might be a little bit more crowded out there. Plus, this heat wave that we're having here in the Southwest, not exactly helping. Okay, so Kitty Craft says she will be staying home and barbecuing, trying to avoid the crowds. And Katie is working on a Quilts of Valor block. Or blocks for Quilts of Valor quilt. Sometimes we need expert advice, and talking to ourselves is the only way to get it. Well, I don't know about expert, but sometimes I do need advice, so I will talk to myself. And sometimes I give myself some good advice, and sometimes, well, in retrospect, it's not so good advice. So it is the what the hell kind of moment. Do, 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 do. The heat wave is everywhere, even in Europe. Ooh. What's the temperature in Europe, wherever you are? And I believe this is my second to the last one. You know, at first, when I first started collecting 1.5-inch squares like this, I kind of thought to myself, oops. I kind of thought to myself, Eric, you must be crazy. But then I started getting into it, and I used a few of these 4 patches in various projects, and I liked it. It was nice to have it already pre-made, so that we already got part of the blocks done. So, and the fact that it's just 1.5-inch squares. I mean, this is a project that you can easily do as leader and ender. You know, in between your actual sewing. So I got my little piece of string there. Well, I'm gonna need this. Okay. Do, 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 do. Well, I'm not there much. Not there, but my kids are close to 100. Wow. And they don't have as much air conditioning as we do. Oh, that's got to be miserable. I don't know. Well, I definitely would not be able to survive here in Southern Nevada if I did not have air conditioning. In fact, once May comes around, that air conditioner kind of stays on pretty much 24/7. Um, One thing, if you don't know, by law, every house or every apartment complex is supposed to have a working air conditioner here. So, um, when I first moved into this place, the air conditioning unit was under repair, but I kind of told the management company I need to move in because I had to leave my apartment in Los Angeles. So they did let me in, and well, they weren't actually supposed to even show the apartment, from what I know, because, again, the air conditioning unit was not working. So it wasn't move in ready. But, um, we worked it out so that I could at least get my stuff in here. They got a portable air conditioner for me. And until the actual um, air conditioner was repaired, I had a portable air conditioner, which I was kind of I kind of strapped it to myself so I could move around with it and just keep myself cool. And then at night, I would just leave it in the bedroom. So I would walk around the apartment with this air conditioner attached to me, and it kept me cool. It was just rolling around in the apartment. Mm-mm-mm. Suzanne Taylor says, here too in Manitoba, Canada, crazy thunderstorms and tornadoes, and humidity is 80%. Ouch. Ooh. Now, the heat is one thing, but humidity is, well, growing up in Hawaii, we had 80% humidity sometimes. That's miserable. Even if it's just 75 degrees, at that high humidity, it just feels like it's a 90, and you start sweating and you start getting all sticky. It's just not a fun experience. Okay. I like spinning seams, and I like plucking out the threads, or plucking out the stitches while I'm spinning the seam. This to me is very relaxing. Probably not the most entertaining thing to watch, though, I should say. So I'm trying to speed through this as quickly as I can. And we will pull that last stitch out. There it released. Okay. I can put Jack away. And we'll just do a little quick iron on these. Okay. Okay. Okay, so just joining in what you're making. Well, Turkey Lurkey Quilter from Texas. This was the actual project for tonight. Kind of got through it rather quickly. Usually it just takes me a while to sew these long seams, but I was putting the blocks together, and this is it. Um, So yeah, no heat waves in British Columbia so far. Well, lucky you, Mozilla. um, Houston has high humidity, sometimes 100%. Oh yeah, I remember it was early November one year, and um, I was actually there for Quilt Festival, and it was still so hot that I just did not want to go outside. I just stayed in the convention center, but even the convention center wasn't all that cool. Yeah, miserable. Um, Eric, you're right. It makes it hard to breathe. That's Suzanne Taylor. Yeah. Mm, yeah. That heat dome we had about 5 years back was horrid. That's Mozilla. Gloria Garris says we had a temperature of 94 today with 82% humidity here in Western New York. That is stifling. Oh, I would imagine. I can imagine. Okay, glad to live here in the Pacific Northwest desert. We have less humidity than some other places. Rub it in, cat. Rub it in. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to end it a little early. So again, this is the final live that you'll see me doing, working on this quilt. If you are interested in doing this quilt, again, I've been kind of repeating this, but I'll say it once more. It's called the Early Riser Quilt. So that's the picture in the pattern. The booklet, so here is the pattern booklet that it came in. It's called Many Wonderful Curves. This is by So Kind of Wonderful. And there's 16 patterns in this pattern booklet. The ruler itself is, do I have my, yeah, I do have the board. So this here is the QCR mini ruler. What it does is you can cut out some Junkert's Path blocks, and this ruler for me, it works really well because it took the fear out of making curves, which I was very afraid of. But the template ruler in conjunction with this book can give you a quilt like this. There are other patterns in here, and there's another quilt that I did make. Here it is. I did not use these fabrics because that background fabric was something else. It's like this mustard brownish color that I was not attracted to, but I did have another quilt. And if you look at some previous lives, you'll see the quilt that, or the version of the quilt that I made with it. So yeah, So Kind of Wonderful QCR mini ruler. It's a good ruler for me, so I give it a thumbs up if you're interested. Okay, also, if you are going to make this, and well, you'll probably have a laugh at this, because when I was putting this quilt together, I kind of, well, I should have known that you actually do need to pay attention more than anything, how you are putting the blocks or the pieces and all the different units together, because, well, if you don't, you'll get a funny looking shape, and I hope this works. Let's see. Yeah, this is what I got. So I mistakenly sewed that this is supposed to be the top. These two bottom pieces were supposed to be the top two pieces, and I put the bottom and sewed it to the top. And I also sewed these two bottom pieces in the wrong orientation, and I came up with something very weird looking. Kind of looks like a mushroom, actually. Right? But it's very easy on this block to kind of get your orientation wrong. So yeah, pay attention to that. That's my only tip for the time being. And if you're first, I mean, it does take some practice to making these curved blocks or sewing these curved blocks. So, you know, practice with some scrap fabrics, and just keep practicing. There is Sew Kind of Wonderful does have a YouTube channel where they actually demonstrate how to use these rulers that they have. So check out their channel. You'll get some tips from them as to how to sew the two fabrics together. And third tip, don't starch your fabrics before you make the block. Make the block first, then starch your fabrics if you are going to starch them, because you need that bias or that stretch in order to get a decent curve. So if you start your fabrics and then you start cutting the curved pieces and try to sew it together, yeah, the starch is going to fight you all the way through, and it's not an easy fight that you're going to win. So those are my tips for sewing curves and getting this quilt done. Oh, one more tip. This was a test block. Before I actually put the real quilt together, I made a test block. And this center unit right here, where you see this yellow piece and then the background, there's a lot of waste to that. The thing is that you have to make a half square triangle of this yellow and the background fabric, and you only use half of that half square triangle. The other half just gets discarded. You cannot, because of the orientation and the placement of the fabrics, you cannot turn it. So in other words, they're not the mirror image. So this was one half square triangle. This was another half square triangle. They are not the opposite sides of each other. So what I would suggest, if you are going to do that, or if you are going to make this quilt, you can either do what I did, make a triangle here in the center and just kind of snowball the corners. Or if you know the math on how to do a quarter square instead of doing a half square, I would do it that way. That way you have more freedom in terms of where you place the fabrics. But if you don't mind wasting the fabric or half of the half square triangle, then so be it. But that was the primary reason why I didn't do this center. I went with making these triangles here. So that's the last tip. Okay, then just a few reminders again. Next week we start diamond pendant quilt. This is a paper piecing pattern, so some of you I know have already downloaded this and you're waiting for me to get started on it. So we're going to start this next week. I'm probably going to do a couple of blocks beforehand. Probably going to make another test block too. Paper piecing is not my expertise, but you're going to see me struggle through it, and hopefully that might encourage some of you to give paper piecing a try, because, well, you'll know, or you won't feel so bad when you make mistakes, and you make the same mistakes as I do. And if you ever watch this YouTube or some of my past YouTube lives, you know I make a lot of mistakes, and I'm not afraid to admit that. So, yep. So again, diamond pendant quilt. You can download the pattern. Link to the pattern will be in the description to this video. Okay. And also coming up next week is the Zoom. So if you want in on the Zoom, and we do have a lot of paper piecing experts that are regulars of the Zoom. So if you have problems or issues, this is the perfect time to come on board and ask your questions or work through your struggles. doing this quilt. Okay, so if you want in on the Zoom, again, just send me an email at treasureheartcreations@gmail.com. We will send you that information. All right. So guys, that is it for me tonight. Thank you for joining me on this journey in creating the early bird quilt. And next week, we'll start another journey in making our diamond pendant quilt. And yeah, we'll be starting this paper piecing journey. So, all right, guys, I will call it an early night. Well, we've been here for an hour. Stay safe. Have a great 4th of July. Enjoy the family and friends and the barbecues, and eat a lot for me because I can't eat that much right now. Take care. We will see you next Tuesday. But until then, let's all get out there. Let's all create something. So, bye for now.